Hi guys, what's up? I'm CJ and welcome back to my galaxy. Today we're outside because I couldn't be bothered setting up my ring light, but we are still talking about Damsel today. I watched it over the weekend. It's the new Millie Bobby Brown movie. Since I've seen a lot of people discussing it on the internet, because obviously it's Millie Bobby Brown, she has a really big fan base. A lot of people absolutely love her acting. She's from Stranger Things. She did Enola Holmes. She's probably been in other things when she was even younger, but she's grown a huge fan base specifically from Enola Holmes and Stranger Things. Before we even get into what I thought of this movie and how it actually turned out, I originally went into this movie thinking it's going to be an alright Netflix movie. It's going to be like fairly decent, fairly average. It's not going to be the worst film ever, but I don't think it's going to be absolutely revolutionary. And I also, however, thought that it was probably going to be Millie Bobby Brown's worst movie that she's been in, not because she's bad at acting in Damsel, but because it just seemed, from the trailer, it just seemed like not one of her best projects. And I have to really stand by the whole idea that it was not one of her best projects, but that's not even to say she was really, really bad at acting. I think overall it was just like a average looking movie. It wasn't the best, but I don't have a lot of bad things to say at the same time. It just wasn't like the best film I've ever watched, but I do have some good things to say about it. And you also have to keep in mind, I'm comparing it in my head to Enola Holmes. I feel like Millie Bobby Brown, I said that really fast, I should just say Millie Bobby Brown, or Millie, whatever. She is really good in the satirical, kind of not so serious films like Enola Holmes. It kind of makes fun of itself. You kind of have, she breaks the fourth wall, Enola Holmes, the character, and she's really good in that movie, and the two movies, there's two of them, and I think her acting in Enola Holmes is so much better than it is in Stranger Things. And that might just be because she was really young when she acted in Stranger Things, but even in the most recent seasons, I think Millie Bobby Brown is a lot better in the more unserious roles where she's not taking herself that seriously. And that's just why I think that Damsel was probably not her best movie, because it's more of a serious role. It's not so super serious as a movie. They're not taking themselves too seriously, but the character, herself is kind of serious, more like, I want to say a brooding kind of character, but I don't think that's the exact phrase I'm going for. But anyway, she was more of a serious character. It wasn't a light-hearted film. It had stronger themes. But it is very similar to Enola Holmes in the same way that it's kind of like a feminist movie. It's a film for the girls. And I think that really helped the movie Damsel overall. But let's talk less about Millie Bobby Brown specifically and her other projects outside of Damsel, but more into just the film in general of Damsel. Like I said earlier, I don't think Damsel is that revolutionary of a movie, but it doesn't mean it's a bad film. It's actually pretty good, except for the fact of like all the elements makes it kind of, I don't want to say trashy, because like when I say trashy I mean like really enjoyable, but it's not good. Does that make sense? You know, when I say trashy romances, a lot of people love them because they're good just to turn your brain off. You know, that's kind of what I'm getting at. Damsel is something that you can sit down with your family and watch and not have to think about it and not have to analyze it. It's just a film you can just enjoy. I watched this film with my family and it was good and enjoyable, and there were a lot of plot holes that we would point out and say, that doesn't make any sense, but laugh about it. And I really like when films are just good enough to point out that there are bad aspects about it, but you can still enjoy that movie. I think the things that make this movie really bad is the script. The script was really bad. The dialogue, specifically, I don't know if it was the script or just the dialogue. I guess the dialogue, every time they spoke, it felt very unnatural, and it just didn't feel like Elodie, by the way, sidetrack, Elodie is the name of my main character in my manuscript. Love that name. Really glad they chose that name for Princess because it's such an elegant name. Love it. Anyway, let's get back on track with Elodie and her sister. They didn't feel like siblings. I have two sisters. and I know what it's like to have sisters. Didn't feel like that at all. I don't think it was written by someone with siblings, or at least they didn't think it through about like the proper sibling interactions. And by the time it got to the end of the movie where Elodie was rescuing her sister, it felt like we were told that they're really close, and of course she's going to rescue her sister, but at the same time didn't really get that vibe that they were super close. You know, it was told to us rather than shown to us, and I feel like that's a criticism that I have for a lot of American media all the time. But, you know, I don't think it necessarily made that, the sibling interactions didn't necessarily make it a bad film, but it just, every time you watch it, you're like, I wouldn't be like that towards my sisters, you know, no, it's just not a natural interaction. And I feel like they went for all of the characters, and I don't think it was the acting that was the problem. I think it was the script and the dialogue that was the problem, because there were really actors that were really good. I felt like I don't remember the names of them, but it was the father and the stepmother. They were really good actors. I really liked their acting. I felt like the stepmother's acting was really good, really carried the film. She seems to be really good in serious films, and that serious role she really does well in that. It's just that every time they spoke, I was like, that I would never say something like that. I've never heard someone else speak like that to me. It just felt weird, and maybe it's because they were going for that like more, I guess, regal type of speaking, and that old-timey sort of speak. I guess that might have been why they were interacting like that, but I've never heard people interact like that and speak like that before. You could also tell when there was a green screen or CGI. One thing I noticed, and I haven't watched the series before, but from what I've seen from clips of it, the dragon in Damsel looked a lot like the dragon in Merlin, and the CGI just looked very bad. Like there was no in between with the innovation of technology and CGI between that time, except Merlin is from the 2010s and Damsel is from the 2020s. So I'm not sure if it was by accident. It probably was, although the dragon did look pretty cool in design, whilst the CGI, you could tell it was CGI, obviously, because dragons don't exist in real life, but you know, the design overall of the dragon seemed pretty cool, pretty scary, and I really liked that they designed it in such like a terrifying way, that it wasn't that cutesy little dragon that you think, oh, they're all cool, you think, oh, that's terrifying. So the design, whilst CGI was really bad, the design overall was really good. Not to mention the voice actor for the dragon, perfect casting. That was her voice, terrifying, really matched the design, and I want more voice acting from that actress. Now onto plot holes, and I feel like the whole movie was a plot hole within itself. And I don't even know how to describe why I think that, I just do. The one thing that I feel like is the biggest plot hole is how the fall damage. How is it possible that some of the characters died for the exact same falls, and yet Elodie and her sister didn't die during those falls? Because there are times when Elodie should have died because other characters died before from that exact same injury. And plot armor is probably the reason, the plot armor in this movie specifically is probably the reason I found it so hilarious and so fun to watch, because when you find plot holes that are just hilarious to have banter about when you're with the people you're watching the movie about, it just makes the film so much more enjoyable. And I know it's not supposed to be the intention, but you know, you gotta expect that when you're making a movie. Zero fall damage and thick plot armor for the main characters is my absolute favorite trashy film thing to watch. I will watch so many movies with just zero fall damage and super thick plot armor, because I don't even know how to explain to people how much I enjoy watching. I just moved a watering can. How much I enjoy watching something like that. This is said watering can, just so you guys know. How on earth did Elodie survive that fall? How did any of those princesses survive that fall? How? That's insane. There's just so many times when Elodie should have died. And it wasn't a bad thing. I didn't personally take it as something really bad that, oh, she should have died here. It's a bad plot point and they shouldn't have written that into the no. Keep it in the script. Keep that. I think it's funny. I'm sorry to the filmmakers, but I think it's really funny that she had that thick of plot armor. One of the best attributes of this film, I believe, that wasn't like a good for a trashy film sort of thing, but actually it was like actually a good theme to be placed in this film, was it was very much a feminist movie, and I love this new wave of feminism in film. Absolutely loving it, you know, with like Barbie and Greta Gerwig and directing a lot of different films. She didn't direct Damsel, but I love this whole like thing that she started. I think hopefully you guys understand what I mean. This film had girls helping girls despite them dying before Elodie came along. Was that at one point she, in trying to escape the dragon, Elodie falls down like this area that's like a safe area, and all these women, all these past princesses have written down their names because they're trying to survive, and there's even a map of where's safe, where to go to try and escape and that sort of thing. And because all of these past princesses have tried to help someone survive, they're waiting for Elodie to be the one to, like, they're waiting for the Elodie. Does that make sense? Yeah, they're waiting for someone who turned out to be Elodie to survive. And the thing that I absolutely love is that the main villain isn't actually the prince. It's not the man, it's the woman, it's the queen that's the main villain driving this. This is a very, it's like a matriarchal kind of kingdom in a way, even though they're trying to kill the princesses. It's very matriarchal, the themes of this movie, and I absolutely adored it. I think they did very well, and I think a lot more films should be taking notes from this kind of film, that we need more feminist pieces that are there's so much women. Anyway, feminist filmmakers like Greta Gerwig and a lot more, but I don't know many directors, so Greta Gerwig is like the only one I know, is that they need to be taking notes and making more matriarchal societies within their storylines and world building with matriarchs, rather than having the patriarchs and then the woman fighting the patriarch. It's just like, but it makes sense in my mind that you should have like a matriarchy where the villain is the woman, but it doesn't have to do with women being oppressed. It has more to do with women as people being oppressed. And I just love that little tiny, it's like, it's not even tiny, it's this really good theme to Damsel that I think Millie Bobby Brown, and I don't know the actress's name, but the woman who plays the queen, they portrayed that really, really well. And the stepmother, the way they wrote in the stepmother is really trying to help Elodie try and survive, and because she got the bad, you know, women's intuition, she tried to help Elodie survive because she got bad vibes from the kingdom, and it wasn't this evil stepmother trope. It was just that like Elodie didn't trust someone that wasn't her mother, you know, the typical like step-parent sort of experience. So we don't have the evil stepmother trope instead, which I absolutely loved. Overall, the film was not perfect by any means, but it doesn't mean you can't enjoy the film. I definitely enjoyed watching this with family, and just, you can turn your brain off. You don't have to think very hard about this film, and honestly, you can ignore the plot holes if you really want to, because you can just, you know, suspend your disbelief, and I'm sure that's probably what they intended, but I'm not very good at suspending my disbelief in every film. So, you know, suspend your disbelief if you want to. You don't have to look at the plot holes, but sometimes the plot holes make it a little bit more entertaining, so maybe you do want to look for them. The one thing I will say is, Netflix, you spoiled your own damn movie in that trailer. And if you look at the trailer, you can literally see that one of the ending scenes is in the trailer, and I completely disagree with that, and you need to get better at making trailers. What the hell? I don't want spoilers in your freaking trailer, Netflix. Do better. But yeah, it was a really good movie. It's something that I highly recommend watching with family, although because there's spoilers in this in this video, maybe you've probably already watched it. If you haven't already and you don't care about spoilers, go and watch the movie. Highly recommend. It's not a good movie, but it is a really good movie. Not every movie has to be absolutely phenomenal for it to be an enjoyable film to watch. But anyways, guys, that is what I thought about the movie Damsel. If you agree with me, let me know in the comments. If you disagree with me, you know, also let me know down in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe. I'm trying to get to 1,000 subscribers, so I would greatly appreciate a subscription if you like this channel. Once again, guys, I hope you enjoyed this video, but I've been CJ, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye!